I am trying to platinum and 100% all 3 games in the Spider-Man trilogy, and in today's episode I start with 2018's Spider-Man. In today's video we will be playing through the entire main campaign, all 3 DLC episodes, and then to finish it off we will also be doing another New Game Plus playthrough on the hardest difficulty. So let's jump straight into it. First things first, we have to select our difficulty. Now despite there being no obtainable difficulty trophies on the first playthrough, I still went with spectacular difficulty, the hardest one at this point in time. The game starts with Spider-Man putting an end to Wilson Fisk, the kingpin of crime, the biggest mob boss around, literally. After going through the first few fighting segments and relearning all the combat after 4 or 5 years, we finally got to face off against Fisk himself.
Writing your memoirs? Don't forget the hyphen between Spider and Man.
After listening to his cliche villain speech, we beat his ass and got our first trophy.
The Kingpin is heading to prison. End of an era.
Soon after that, we unlocked our first radar tower. These not only reveal the map of the district they are in, but in doing this, they also reveal all the collectibles, crimes, and side quests, all things we will need to complete to get some future trophies. As soon as I unlocked the first tower, I set out to get the remaining ones for a trophy, and along the way we unlocked the Lost and Found trophy for collecting 5 out of the 55 total backpacks around New York. I also got the Hero for Hire trophy not long after this for just simply perching myself on top of the Avengers Tower. After about another 20 to 30 minutes, I unlocked all the radar towers and got our next trophy. I then decided to jump back into the main story. This is where we meet Dr. Octavius himself. But don't worry, he isn't the evil 8-legged robot dude just yet. He is not evil, in fact, that he wrote up blueprints for a new suit and gadget. Both of these things would need to be fully owned and upgraded for some trophies later on, but for now, we move on. However, we did get another trophy for unlocking our very first gadget. Very soon after this, we got a few trophies in quick succession. First, we got so many hits for achieving a 100 hit combo. Then we got Spider Sensible for something? I don't even know, I forgot and I'm too lazy to find out. Then we got Ace the Base for completing an enemy base and all its bonus objectives. After this, Spidey set out to collect all his lost backpacks. This granted us the Backpacker trophy, and soon after I unlocked the Wing It trophy. I seriously have no idea how I got this trophy, and the description doesn't really help. Like, I can make a brief assumption of how I got it, but why I didn't get it earlier is my main question. But oh well. I then unlocked the King of Swing. Then I did some sick air tricks for the Sticky and Tricky trophy. Then I embraced my inner Bully Maguire and unlocked the Spider-Man About Town trophy. Let me know down below if you got that reference. I hope you all did. Another collectible is the landmarks, so I set out to photograph them all.
But I always get the feeling something strange is going on in that place.
This granted us the Sightseeing trophy.
Masked up piece.
I then completed a random crime and got our next trophy. I then decided to jump back into the main story for a little bit, where I got to do the absolute best part of these games, the MJ missions. This is so fun and definitely doesn't slow the pace of the story or whole game in general. I definitely love going from playing as Spider-Man, you know, the guy in the title of the game, to playing as some powerless redhead. I hope you all noticed the sarcasm there, as I really laid it on thick. Or I tried. After that, I unlocked the Arachnophobia trophy for completing a certain number of stealth takedowns, and then the All King's Men trophy for completing all of the Kingpen locations. Then the next main story beat opened up with our first real boss fight against Shocker. Dun dun dun! Yeah, before this game I had no idea who this was, but hey, he gave us a trophy. We then went back to Otto's lab and watched him get pretty much evicted by President Norman Osborn.
Mr. Osborn.
Oh, please. How long have we known each other? It's Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, President Norman Osborn. I guess he doesn't like to play dress up in this game. Anyways, after that, we unlocked our next collectible of sorts, the research stations. These are stations set up around New York by Harry Osborn, who is currently in Europe and definitely not taking a romantic bath with an alien symbiote. As much as I wanted to, I couldn't do all these straight away, as a few of them required certain skills, so I'll have to come back to these later. The next trophy I unlocked was for wearing 5 different suits, a very easy trophy to get. Then we met Jefferson Davis, a local police officer whose death 100% has no effect on the future of any character and definitely doesn't cause the sequel game. The fourth collectible type are these cat figurines that Black Cat, the baddie herself, likes to leave around the city. So you should know the drill by now. Collecting all of these granted us the Cat Prince trophy and a sick new suit. Now I'm just saying, she could leave her Cat Prince on me, if you know what I mean. Oh, I forgot to mention that we also got a trophy for collecting our first cat figurine. The very next trophy we unlocked was the Born to Ride trophy. This is for riding the subway or fast traveling 5 times. On the PS4 or slower PCs or even earlier versions of the game, instead of just being a black fade done within seconds, Spider-Man would actually be on the subway in a cutscene, hence the trophy title. We then head back to Feast, where Martin Lee informs May that she's in charge until he gets back.
Sorry to interrupt. Just wanted to let you know I'm headed out of town. You're in charge while I'm gone.
When we ask about where he is going, he just states he has a personal thing to deal with. Suspicious, isn't it? Oh well, I'm sure he isn't a super-powered evil genius or anything. I mean, that would be crazy. Not in the Marvel City, New York. Definitely not. After this, we did a side quest for Howard, the Pigeon Man. A lot of people give this quest shit for being really annoying, but I didn't find it to be too annoying, especially with the very touching story that Howard gives us. If you're going for the platinum yourself, definitely give this side quest all your attention, especially because Howard is not only in this game, but he's in the following 2 Spider-Man games. After collecting all the pigeons, however, we unlocked our next trophy.
Taking you home, buddy.
Soon after, while completing a random crime, I unlocked the Grinding All the Way Remastered trophy for maxing out any benchmark type. After that, I thought it was finally time we went back and did some more of the story. Here we stopped the demons from moving in on a Fisk construction site. This mission had some of the best set design in the entire game, from chasing a giant wrecking ball helicopter through the city to us doing the iconic Spider-Man pose on top of said helicopter. Now I could glaze a little more, but let's move on to the next trophy. The trophy R&D is gotten by completing all of Harry Osborn's research stations and the little lightning evading minigame after.
Oscorp servers.
We then attended the funeral of Jefferson Davis, completing Act 1. Oh yeah, he died. Mr. Lee, or I guess now Mr. Negative, planted suicide bombers in the Norman Osborn rally, and we were stupidly there as Peter Parker and not Spider-Man. So now we have to set off to put an end to Mr. Negative. I then got 3 trophies in a row for first webbing enemies together with the trip mine, then for completing an enemy base without taking any damage, and for completing all demon hideouts. The next part of the story introduced us to Tombstone, a side villain that will be important later on. After that, we found our first Taskmaster challenge. These challenges are key to unlocking various trophies such as Short Fuse, Spy Hunter, Fist of Fury, and Ninja for completing one of all Taskmaster challenges.
So close to...
Master Education for getting the highest rank on a Taskmaster challenge.
Not gonna lie, feeling pretty good about myself right now.
Challenge Finder for completing every challenge in the city at least once, and finally Master of Masters for finally defeating Taskmaster.
Nah.
Next we broke into Oscorp Tower and learnt more about the failed medical cure, I've been stuck on that line for the last 10 minutes, turned bioweapon, nicknamed Devil's Breath. This is super important and drives the story for pretty much the entire remainder of the game. But before Spider-Man can put an end to the Devil Breath crisis, Peter Parker has got to put some time in at the lab. While here, we unlocked a bit of a fixer-upper trophy for completing all extra lab hacking thingies. I don't even know, but I do know that they were extremely tedious, and I'm man enough to admit that I googled a good chunk of them, so I wouldn't break my controller. Oh no, that comes later. After that, we had a boss fight with Mr. Negative and sent him away to the raft. Hopefully that will be the last we ever see of him. Yeah, he broke out. And so did all of Spider-Man's most notorious villains. You know, Electro, Vulture, Rhino, Scorpion, Mr. Negative. And now, oh my god, wait, who is that? Is that the sponsor of today's video? Nah, I'm just joking. I'm not cool enough for sponsors. It's just Dr. Octavius. You know, Peter's father figure / mentor now turned supervillain, set on destroying everything related to Norman Osborn, even by releasing the Devil's Breath's plague on the concrete jungle that is New York. This ends Act 2. At some point, I unlocked both the Overdrive and Science for the Win trophies. For whatever reason, the recording of them popping is gone, but I did get them, so don't worry. Now in Act 3, we unlocked both the prisoner camps and the Silver Sable outpost, so of course we set out to complete both of them. After that, I finally complete all crime versions in a certain region.
That's it? I feel like the hold-up guys are phoning it in lately.
Then I finally took down both Electro and Vulture for the Grounded trophy. I really enjoyed that boss fight, definitely my favourite out of the whole game. Having to be constantly swinging between the two enemies and dodge both Vulture's wing attacks and Electro's lightning made me feel like Spider-Man. Yeah, I know that's cringy, but if any of you have played the game, I'm sure you know what I mean. Then I got all the main game suits, and finally took down Rhino and Scorpion. A surprisingly fitting duo for the Sting and Smash trophy. This boss fight was a bit more difficult than the last one, but I enjoyed it all the same. Then I reached max level and unlocked the trophy for getting all skills. I then continued the story and played another fucking MJ mission. I mean, are we serious, guys? I am playing Spider-Man, not Mary Jane. The last thing I want to do is...
Good boy.
Okay, maybe these missions aren't too bad. Maybe I was a bit too harsh. Then we got the ironically named Staying Positive trophy for taking down Mr. Negative, for real this time. Nothing too much to say about this boss fight, so moving on. While Spider-Man is getting healed after his fight with Mr. Negative, or I guess his proto-fight with Dr. Octavius, we got some spoiler bait for the next game.
Alright. No. No, that's not it. Maybe it's this one. No.
Then, while waiting for the very next main mission, I got a trophy for completing all the corrupted student missions. These are just a string of side quests found across New York where you have to find students that were corrupted by Mr. Negative. Then I finally went toe-to-toe against Dr. Octavius. This was an amazing last boss fight. The mix of having to swing around and get close and personal really made this fight extremely memorable for me. After that, we watched the final cutscenes of the game and some more spoiler bait for both Miles Morales and Spider-Man 2. And then we finally got the final trophy of the story. Now it was time to unlock the 3 trophies I had left to obtain simultaneously. One for taking down Tombstone, see I told you he'd be important, then the trophy for concluding all side quests, and finally for 100% of all districts.
I'm definitely not.
With the main game complete, I finally moved on to the 3 DLC episodes. The first one is entitled The Heist, and can you guess how it starts? I bet you it's a description that you can. It starts with a heist. If you got that right, you have to subscribe, and if you didn't, I don't know, go back and try again. Either way, definitely subscribe. This heist is done by the ever-bad Black Cat. Anyways, after failing to put a stop to her scheme and her essentially getting away, we unlocked our first DLC trophy.
Peter, is everything everything okay?
Sorry, MJ, I just ran into an old friend.
Who?
Trouble.
Each DLC episode has a very similar trophy for completing all the districts. These districts have various collectibles such as the photos in this first episode,
More art.
Screwball challenges. These are essentially Taskmaster challenges, just with a more annoying narrator this time around.
What's up, SM? It's your #1 fan!
And crimes are also present in every single one of these DLC episodes. But this time around, I was burnt out on the crimes, so they were always the last thing I went out of my way to complete. After completing our first Screwball challenge, I got our final gadget upgrade. I then went on a collection spree of all those previously mentioned photos. And this unlocked the Long Con trophy. Then I went back to the story and played a little cat and spider with Black Cat and unlocked the next story beat trophy. Soon after, I completed all the Screwball challenges in this first episode for the Screwy trophy.
And Spidey takes the silver in the...
Okay, I guess I'm moving a bit fast. Let me briefly explain the plot of this episode for you all. We start by answering the call of a museum break-in, which is where we run into Black Cat. At some point, she informs us that she is forcibly working with the Magia and their big bad leader, Hammerhead, specifically. The reason behind this, you may ask? Apparently, Hammerhead has captured her son. A son that is old enough to potentially be Spider-Man's kid. Yeah, so turns out Black Cat and our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man did a lot more than just date in the past. Moving on, we help Selina with her problem by allowing her to steal certain objects for the hard drives hidden within. This eventually leads us to breaking into a Magia outpost thingy on the docks, which is where she inevitably betrays us.
No, you gotta be kidding me! Tell me you weren't just stringing me along!
Yeah, so everything she said to us was a lie, and now Hammerhead wants her dead. This episode then ends with a massive cliffhanger that actually had my jaw hit the floor when it happened.
Felicia!
With that surprise done, we unlocked the rather rudely named trophy by Felicia. Soon after, I completed all crimes for our next trophy. And with that, I 100% all regions in this first episode, granting us the final episode 1 trophy.
Not even trying for subtlety anymore!
Now I can comfortably move on to the second episode, entitled Turf Wars. This episode follows the turf wars of Hammerhead and the other gangs found throughout New York City. The biggest story beat of this DLC is that Yuri, Spidey's friendly cop buddy, turns rogue after she has to watch her cop buddies get brutally murdered one by one in front of her.
That's the problem with you new cops. No respect.
This leads to her go on a rage-fueled rampage, leading her to kill Hammerhead. With this episode, I focused mainly on the story, so here are the 3 trophies. Yeah, the last one didn't pop for some reason, but there it is nonetheless. The first miscellaneous trophy I got was Prohibition, for completing all the Hammerhead hideouts. I then completed all the crimes in this episode district for the trophy, the Gang War.
One less high-speed chase on the streets.
And finally, I completed all the terribly annoying Screwball challenges. And with this being the final thing I needed, I got the 100% complete trophy ending episode 2.
Guess it was wishful thinking that those Hammerhead thugs would disappear with their boss.
Man, episode 2 was really quick compared to the first one, jeez. Let's see how quickly I can cover episode 3. Silver Lining. The story of this trophy is that Silver Sable has returned as Hammerhead has been stealing and abusing her weapons and tech, and she is quite rightfully pissed. However, she isn't too happy with Spider-Man to start out with. Yeah, she shows up and the very first thing she does is attack me. I was stuck on this fight for what felt like hours, and remember earlier in the video where I hinted at breaking my controller later on? Yeah, this is where it happened. Hopefully you can see on screen, but I threw my controller so hard at the ground multiple times out of pure frustration, annoyance, and anger that the L1 bumper came flying off, and I still have no idea where it is. Actually, it's kind of funny now that I think about it, but trust me, it wasn't then. Anyways, after that encounter, we got our first trophy of the episode. Then, super quickly after, I completed the story of this DLC. I mean, I did have to go and rescue Silver Sable, and there was a black cat reveal because apparently her death wasn't real, or she really is a cat and has 8 more lives. I don't know, something like that, but who wants to see that? I mean, you all want to see is the new resurrected Hammerhead is now a giant robotic cyborg Frankenstein thingy. And we had a boss fight with him, and after Spider-Man and Silver Sable defeated him, we are granted our next trophy, Terminated. Then, without wasting any time, I pushed through the remaining content for the rest of our trophies. First we got the Wages of War trophy for completing all of this episode's hideouts. Soon after, we unlocked the next trophy, Unacceptable, for uncovering Yuri's maddening plot to take down all the Mafia, whatever means necessary. And finally, I completed our final ever lot of Screwball challenges for our 3 remaining trophies of this DLC episode. Okay, so at this point we have completed both the main game, all remastered trophies I think, and all 3 DLC episodes are at 100% completion. So the next and last thing left to do in this journey is a New Game Plus playthrough, of course. There isn't much to say about this. I mean, it's the exact same game except we have our skills, gadgets, and suits, so basically you are super OP. Or I would have been if I wasn't going for 100%, as one of the trophies gained from New Game Plus is for completing a max difficulty playthrough, as is a new max difficulty with New Game Plus. So yay, more torture. Well no, actually, despite how difficult and painful the DLC episodes were on the base game's max difficulty, New Game Plus on its even harder difficulty with the same amount of suits and gadgets and stuff was way easier than any of the DLC was, or at least in my case. Let me know down below if you struggled. Point is, I flew through this playthrough and unlocked 2 trophies. Then there was just one final trophy. Yeah, remember how I said I had obtained all the base game trophies? Well, I lied. Now, before you get annoyed, I think you can all understand why I left this till last.
Hey, Uncle Ben. Miss you. Doing my best to make you proud.
And with that trophy done, we got our first platinum trophy of the channel. So that was my journey to unlocking the platinum trophy of Spider-Man Remastered. I had a lot of fun, and other than the tedious crimes, broken controller, and the painful Screwball challenges here and there, this game was an overall fun and very easy journey, I must admit. I highly recommend this platinum to everyone on PlayStation, whether it's your first platinum or maybe your 101st, definitely give it a go. Even if you're playing it on PC, it's still an amazing experience, I'm sure. My PlayStation said it took me a total of 43 hours, and considering that I went for the full 100% completion, I am happy with that. I mean, I wanted it to be a bit lower, maybe around the 30 mark, but we can't always get what we want. But let me know down below, have you gotten this platinum? Did you enjoy? And what game should I platinum next? Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you all next time. Peace.